become super motivated, have a better game 2. Some players choke in the game 2 because they're so emotionally invested in what happened in game 1. A lot of new players on this roster. Bulldog, first season of LCK. Boham feels like his first season of LCK. He was a sub last season. Of course, the same to be true of Taeyun, as we will see the Vi banned here first.
Interesting that Wukong is the change up here. Elite's going to be taken off the board as well. I like it. Showing that we are going to adapt our bans. Vi was, of course, banned in game number 1 by Quantum Freaks. This time around, though, it is going to be the switch up to the Elise. So one of Jace or Azir will get through. I don't know whether KDF need to go for an Azir ban. As Oner, see what he's going to be playing this game. Likely to see his pick in the first 1 or 2. There's Lucian being banned away.
Okay, I already know we're seeing something very different here this time around. Rise still up. Varus, Ashe, these champions that can control the lane, and the Caitlyn. I think you really, if you're not picking it here, I think you really need to drop that ban right now, Quantum Freaks. Just delete that part of game 1 from the rest of this series. Yeah, and it's not going to be the same comp, but still, they'll ban the Rise themselves, so they may first pick it and try to run it back themselves, but...
I mean, if they don't first pick it, it is a mistake. So we'll see what T1 decide to ban away here. I imagine that Gumayusi is pretty happy to play into the Caitlyn. I think that T1 will have plans against it. Varus is available. Varus is a champion that can be played into it. If you leave at Varus Ashe up, then you can probably do some stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. Both are gonna be left open.
Kasante banned away.
Take Ashe here, Kwangdong.
Oh wow.
Take Ashe.
So the Elise. So this is what Quantum Freaks are thinking. The Elise was the problem. She allows for so many of these dives to take place. I can get on board with that, but I think leaving Caitlyn up against T1 in any scenario whatsoever is illegal.
Almost looks like a player like Zeus is shown on camera there when the Maokai is locked. It almost looks like he can't believe it that they're going to let this go through, and it feels like a trap in some ways. And T1 thinking about this hard before we're going through with it, but I think Caitlyn's strong into so many things, but Ashe Varus is also just an easy lock-in here for T1 if you'd like to have it, and it's the strongest bot lane right now. It's the one that is illegal no matter what, because yeah, you see Lucian all the time. You don't see Ashe Varus because it's always banned. You can never allow these two champions to go over. We might just see a different version of Quantum Freaks allowing T1 to have draft Nirvana here.
And once it, I love this as well, because, I think they should probably pick the Ashe, personally. But that's fine, considering the Silas for now. But I think if they locked in Varus Ashe, then you have a lot more flexibility, right? As Sejuani is going to be the choice. Very strange. Okay.
Well, remember, Kwangdong weren't willing to play the Ashe in the previous game when it was open. So maybe this is a read from T1 to just kind of react a little bit more here and see if Kwangdong are willing to play this. Now, Zeri into Varus Ashe. Of lanes that could be as bad as the lane we just watched, this is one of them.
Yeah.
This one is on the list of lanes that you should not play into Varus Ashe, the Zeri Yuumi. Now, it doesn't even necessarily have to be Ashe. Heimerdinger is also good here.
Yeah, no.
Karma is also good here.
I think Ashe is like the incredibly good option. Or just Caitlyn Varus. Okay. Support Varus, support Caitlyn, who cares? One of those things are happening. Basically what this is T1 are going to have 2 ranged champions that outrange Zeri and Yuumi by about 1 billion Teemos. And Zeri and Yuumi are not allowed to enter the lane, and therefore it doesn't matter who the support is, because they're just not allowed to play the game.
At this point, I feel like Guma and Keria could not buy a support item, either of them, and split the CS 50-50 and have a good time.
Yeah. Oh my, do you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for T1 to lock Zeus' pick, whatever that may be, and then the last pick is Ashe. And it's Varus mid
after the Azir lock-in?
Yeah, after the Azir lock-in for 2015 League of Legends. Oh!
Somebody called Caps, he did that recently.
Oh my god.
All right, let's see what Kwangdong actually locked in here, because we're already very worried, but it's not over yet, and things can change here as the Silas does get banned away. which does lead into, it looks like they're very likely want to play the Azir. Ziggs here, a really interesting ban. Now, we've seen a lot of discussion about whether Ziggs could deal with some of these Varus lanes actually very well.
Yeah.
But they already have Zeri Yuumi, so that Ziggs ban is very puzzling. I don't think Bulldog was considering it as an option here.
Okay, so what does T1 lock in? Do they just, they could lock Ashe now. To just have all of it.
They
like,
could, and it wouldn't
These
be
are
bad.
examples of the champions still available that hard counter your lane, by the way. Okay, here is the Azir. So we're not going for that. The Azir will be locked in for Faker. It was banned in game 1, a champion that Faker is pretty synonymous with.
They banned the Sylas, so it makes the Azir much more appealing here. Akali could work here for Bulldog, but he has to play it very well, and the rest of the composition is a little bit disjointed with the Akali. You have two good targets in the backline, but because it's support here, an 80 carry support, you're going to have problems potentially if you dive in because there's just so much damage in this comp and peel. So it's bold to go for that choice, as they will lock the Renekton first here. It's going to be the blind one. And will they put Bulldog on Caitlyn? Or will they just put him on a Victor and hope for the scaling? Oh, sorry, not Caitlyn, excuse me, Akali.
Yeah, the Akali looks to be the option here. Does make a lot of sense. T1 will then pick either Nah, or they could play Kennen again. I honestly feel like the Kennen would be kind of cool. Although, Sejuani value is going to be extraordinarily low. So at least with a Jace, you can go into melee form, and so you can get some of that across value. Considering it for now,
it's a lot of damage poke-wise here.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to commit. So
now we get to see exactly who's going to be playing what. I assume that it's going to be Guma on Caitlyn and Keria on the Varus.
I think so, because that's what makes the most sense, because it's much easier for Keria to obviously farm Spell Thief's Edge if that's the support item he's going to choose here. Just in general, his gold item where he gets damage from his poke, much easier to pull that off than Caitlyn, so Caitlyn not going to be able to scale as well off of the support item and having less gold. Varus also has the utility of his ultimate, although they swapped the last second.
Okay, that's interesting. I was wondering how this was going to go.
Keria might be playing 80 carry.
Oh my.
Think about that. Keria could be playing 80 carry this game.
That'd be very cool. Very strange, but very cool. All right, so it has been largely Gumayusi that has been playing Varus. Feels very strange to see him not on the Caitlyn, but that's just the world that we're living in. And I guess it doesn't really matter, because the job is the same for these bottom laners on Tier 1 side, and that is make sure that Zeri never plays League of Legends.
Yeah, and Zeri can have a harder time than Lucian in lanes like this. Just not a whole lot she could do to protect herself. She doesn't have a lot of power at level 2 like the Lucian did. Like Carl could point out really well in the space earlier. It's just that they prevented them from hitting level 2, crashed that wave, and went for the dive immediately. We'll see what happens this time around, but this comp is good. If you just look at these 5 champions here for Guangdong Freaks, this is a comp. This is a real comp.
It's good, yeah.
It's very meta.
Yeah.
But when you consider the bottom lane here and what just happened and the power of the poke, the immense ways and setup they have to pick people, it could be a disaster.
It's certainly good. Let's see if it is. We hop onto the rift. Wow, T1 fans, top of their lungs, as you can hear. Let's see whether they're going to be rewarded once again.
It is support Caitlyn, was the question we still had.
Yep.
Seemed likely, but you never know.
You don't. You definitely don't.
You don't know till you see that item bot.
When it's Keria, you never do. We'll see whether he takes Snap Trap first. That would be funny. He's not going to. And we'll also see how he's going to play this lane out. Because could be a few ways. Of course, it's pretty obvious that he'll be heading in a more lethality direction. Items are cheaper. It's generally the way that you are going to go there. But the main task for this Caitlyn is to
push the waves and hit people with autos.
Yes, hit people with autos in their face as much as you can. This ward doing a lot of good work, as Keria is going to see it, and they're going to share some gold. And yeah, this is
So Halo Blades coming up here, obviously going to give her some extra power with those trades, and that's what you want if you're playing support Caitlyn, which is not, I mean, don't try this at home, kids, please. But if you are going to play this, that's what you want to get that extra damage through these autos. It's exactly what I'm talking about. And in the
barriered for the trade.
Yeah, and he's still now at 1/3 health.
I love that.
Or okay, yeah, you tricked me for a second. I was like, I don't think he barriered, but yes, Keria barriered, and now Hataena's at 1/3 health.
Yes.
First time ever support Caitlyn.
Unsurprising, as he gets the headshot onto Moham there as well. Very good video out recently about the upcoming Yuumi nerfs done by old mate Freak.
Yeah, Freak said that Yumi's a melee champion now.
Yeah, basically he's done his very best to make as many lines of nerfs as possible so that people never play the champion ever again. And that is, you know, if that's going to be the first big thing that he does in his new role, I think he's already nailed it. I think he's already absolutely fantastic in his position. Fantastic stuff. Zeus, oh my goodness, if that empowered Shock Blast had landed, Dudu's dead.
Yeah. Luckily, Dudu doesn't have to flash, but he's still in a really rough spot. His Oner's going to come up here and try to set up for something against this early Maokai. Might just hard force the dive.
Well, let's see. There's the flash. Dudu is very, very dead, but can he get something back? The answer's yes, and that's an execution. All right, of course it is. Sure. Okay. What?
Well, he can teleport right back in here. Zeus, and he needs to, because otherwise he's going to be losing a ton of farm, but Zeus could just kite this out, back up casually here, and yeah, it's a Renekton that's desperately trying to survive, not touch a Sejuani to get kill credit, and it looked like he might actually get out. He almost did. He was on the edge of that turret range. And still is executed. Loses a little bit of farm time here, but otherwise very successful gank.
Yeah, really nicely done.
Dudu is just so low at this point, and Youngjae, if he tries to actually commit, then Zeus just turns on him. Yep, just doesn't hit the Sejuani ever.
I like Oner's flash is actually really cute there as well, because if, like, it hit, and it looked a bit weird, right? Because I think he could have just Arctic Assaulted to pick that one up, but he did it so that even if there was a slice or a dice available from Dudu, he was going to hit him regardless.
Yep.
Very, very cute. As Gumayusi is just trying to do what he can here. Does have to flash away, though. Keria also misses the Peacemaker. But you can see the looming Piggy. Oner making his way in. And Winter's Wrath's going to come down. And despite the fact that a few things worked out, I think this still is going to go in the wrong direction. The Permafrost comes in. Oner survives. Keria also lives. Moham's dead. And the Piggy goes down. But it doesn't matter. Look at all these minions.
Look at all the minions that they are not going to get. It is a repeat here going into the second game of the last one. Just a little bit different circumstances here. It's not the full dive with Faker coming down on set. Just
Dead Maokai? Look at all of this gold.
Yeah, he's going to be picking up a fair amount of it. As pre-6.
Yeah, Bulldog taking a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Okay, Bulldog, time to go home. I think it's time to go home. Getting nervous. Let's check this one out again.
What you just said has a lot more meanings than one. Okay, so Moham detaches here. They put a lot of damage onto Oner, takes one extra turret shot here. And Moham decides, okay, can't kill Keria. Just going to hope that I can get that last auto onto Oner. He does, just barely. Yumi's clearly OP. Glad we're nerfing that on the next patch.
It's autos, man. And we are nerfing those. So there we go. Glad you brought that up.
A dive that's executed with no flash from Oner. And it's still just beautiful, the way they pull it off there. Part of it is just the nature of what Varus and the Caitlyn could do, but also part of it was how they flashed it, how they played it at super low health. Like, they're just... This is the hardest skill check that they're showing us right now. And if this fails, the dive fails and the Zeri gets ahead, this game might just end at that moment as well, the opposite way. Like, if things go 10% worse for T1 there, then suddenly, this is a real game where we talk about Zeri scaling, and the laning problems aren't really an issue anymore.
No, 100%. No, you're exactly right. This is still a tightrope walk. And this draft gap is nowhere near the same as in game number 1. Game number 1, there was, like, T1 could do everything face up and still just win because their champs did stuff that were better than the opposing champs in the positions that they put themselves in.
Yeah, the difference in this game is that T1 can do those things if they play like T1.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're T1.
Yeah, and they probably will be T1 as Youngjae has to flash. Permafrost almost stacked up there as Twisted Advance to get on in. Youngjae is going to see what he can do. That's the wrong turret. He's still dead. And that's going to be Zeus picking up that kill. But Bulldog now to come on forward will be able to pick it up. Perfect execution is exactly that. And the young player doing fantastic work already.
Yeah, this was a bit of an overextension here for T1. And Zeus is just so squishy. You know, at this stage of the game, Dudu has level 6, so gets on top of him there. And you're playing with a Maokai can root. So it's really easy for that gap to be closed for Dudu there. This does, of course, allow Faker to get some extra push in mid. Looks like he might pick up a plate here just barely before he is forced back by Bulldog. But 2 kills to the Akali this early on in the game is amazing for Guangdong Freaks.
It is. Almost all the plates are gone, which is a worry. Nature's Grasp going to come forward as Keria is going to sacrifice himself for the good of the colony. You love to see it. And that is going to make sure that at least Gumayusi survives.
Giving the kill over to Youngjae here is an interesting choice. Perhaps not what they actually wanted to do. I think giving the kill to Taeyun would have been much stronger here, but either way, another punish here by the side of Guangdong Freaks for these extremely aggressive plays from T1, just constantly skill checking, and sometimes you lose. As this isn't up being Youngjae going for the twisted advantage here, punching Zeus.
Oh, that's the solo kill! Dudu is going to pick it up. He was already smashing this lane, actually. Yep. There was that kill that went down earlier, but Dudu teleports back in, gets all of those creeps, and okay.
Zeus pushed out of lanes once, now he's pushed out twice. Guma is going to get this whole turret here very early. This game might not be about putting the Zeri down anymore. It might be about a fed Renekton and Akali that are going to cause problems here in the mid game, while Taeyun will just be farming mid and trying to catch up. As they actually can take this advantage and push it into a Rift Herald right now. We got a game on our hands.
My hands are covered in Game Wolf. I can see it here on my hands. All right, let's check out the replay one more time. As we were trying to watch this, the turret's going to fall down. That's all of the plates. Yeah. Bottom lane's still a disaster, but this was pretty cool.
Youngjae smashes him towards this Renekton who has ult available, and Zeus is just so squishy.
Yeah, well, Zeus might also be dead again. He is. Taeyun is going to go down as well. He's not the main character of this story. T1 are just going to walk up the bottom lane.
Put plates on those turrets.
Yeah.
They're trying to get an inner sub 10.
It's a lot of money.
This is just Guangdong giving up bottom.
Yeah, Faker's going to come on over. The backflip does come forward. Emperor's Divide avoided. Very nice. Ace in the hole comes in, and Bulldog has to flash. Oh my goodness. That arrow did a lot of work.
So this is now a base race in League of Legends.
At 9.5 minutes?
Zeus going to grab plate mid. And top side, we do see... Forgive me, those watchers. This is my first time on a game like this. I'm a little bit awkward about this. I'm a little bit nervous. But yeah, this is really greedy here for the plate from Zeus. He's just punished by Dudu. Yeah, there's not really much forgiveness for this one. That's just straight up greed. But up here on the follow-up, he's just chain CC'd here. Taeyun tries to go for this and pick up some extra gold. Bit of a mistake here, how that's juggled, and he actually takes way too much damage, and Oner will trade it back. But still, picking up some money on the Zeri. 3 assists now she has.
Yeah, Zeus might be in trouble again as Dudu level up. And Zeus is running the wrong direction. That's his strategy. He can move him back, so I don't think that Zeus is going to die here or anything like that. And Oner is going to turn up as well.
One thing I want to say is that Guangdong have really just committed to our bot lane doesn't exist. Let's make sure their top lane doesn't exist. And it might have been something that CV Max said to them during the break after that last game. But next time this happens, you collapse on the Kennen, you kill him, you actually make sure that he can't play the game. You change their weak side to be an extreme weak side. But now the lane swap comes through. Yeah. And this is where you have to actually commit heavier. Youngjae has his ultimate here, but he's not where he needs to be to stop this from going down. So this is just going to go down for free, and so much money is being given over.
Well, Taeyun's still going to dive on in. There's the final chapter as Keria with the barrier is going to come in. Taeyun's dead. The Renekton also died somewhere on the map. Not entirely sure how that one happened. Ace in the hole flying towards Bulldog as Faker, still at full health, was making his way up. I liked the idea from Quandong Freaks. It did not work.
Yeah, I mean, the aggressive wall ride in from Taeyun there, I think really speaks volumes to the player's mentality right now, is hoping that you can pop off and carry, hit a big ult, and grab like 3 kills there is your dream. That's what you're really hoping and praying for in this one, because you're like, oh man, we lost in inner bottom. We tried to trade back topside. We didn't get equivalent exchange here. This is not Full Metal Alchemist, right? They got the top turret. But now as they try to come over here and defend with this Yuumi and Zeri ult, the split is good, and you've just sacrificed your life. And, you know, it's not the play. You're desperate, you're frustrated, you're trying to make something happen up here, but if T1 don't misplay there, you throw your life away.
And that is precisely what happened. 30 CS is the difference here. 2,000 gold, the lead for Gumayusi. That's what happened. And this time, it wasn't because he killed all of the champions, although he's done a pretty good job of that as well. It's because he's killed 2.5 turrets.
Yeah, and he's looking for number 3.
Yeah, I'd say this is like, he's already up to 3, having, as soon as this plate goes down, I'm going to say 3. There it is. Chains of Corruption go wide. In true Varus fashion.
They both have flash and they both have insane range, so they're not too worried about the retreat here.
Oh dear. Ace in the hole is going to come in, but it's going to be interrupted. Keria trying to flash out of this one, does not work. Puts down the snap trap. It's actually kind of cute how that one went down as Bulldog looks for the backflip, does not get it, and also Gumayusi makes it under the turret, so he'll be fine. So 0 and 2 for Keria. A little bit unfortunate on the Caitlyn this time around for the support Caitlyn debut. It will be a Chemtech Soul, so not a great one. Not a favorite.
Not amazing, especially not for T1's comp, because they don't want any of these champions to be half health.
Well, Gumayusi just going to have to try and get himself out of this one. Try and hope and pray.
There's the money.
And there it is. Taeyun's going to pick that one up.
Finally, he gets his shutdown.
Yeah,
it's been a long time coming.
A lot of money.
Long time coming.
What was that, like 650? Or
I think it was 650, yeah.
It's pretty nice.
It's a lot of money for the Zeri, who needs to back more respectfully, but will.
Ow.
And the Maokai's up there, very good, punishing the greed once again for T1, but they're still trading up. You know, that's the thing. You get these punishes off not every time, but sometimes. But they're still killing the turrets. They're still stacking up that gold. And when we get to team fights later,
Ace in the hole, going to be blocked by Bulldog. Very nicely done. T1 will move over towards the bottom side river. And it's looking like just the Rift Scuttler that's on their mind. Let's check this one out one more time. As while this was happening, we saw that Keria aims the Ace in the hole, but immediately Quandong Freaks walk over and kill him.
Yeah, he had a control ward and trap set up there, so I guess he thought, oh, I'm pretty safe to do this, except he revealed himself with that ult, and they just collapse and kill him. Then move on to Gumayusi, who just barely gets caught by the Nature's Grasp, pushed back into Taeyun, picks up the 650. A shutdown gold in the Zeri's arms, and this is still not a good game state, but things like this are what Kwangdong have decided they're going to try to do. Is they looked for that lane swap, tried to deal with that top side, failed. That time Taeyun has 3 deaths this game, but this time finally the 3rd real try, he picks up a kill, picks up some shutdown. It's not all good news, but there's some good news.
No, it is, and honestly, this is a game state that Quandong Freaks can work with, right? It's nowhere near the same difference as in game number 1, where it was kind of just doomed, right?
Yeah.
This is, you know, Taeyun being able to get that kill back. He does have his shield bow now completed, and when he gets the 3 items, he'll still be Zeri. He'll have a Yuumi. There's a Maokai there. The amount of peel is actually good. Bulldog's dive will be fantastic because there's so many squishies on this team. Zeus, okay, well, Bulldog's not quite dead, but isn't going to kill Zeus, but still, man. Bulldog's mechanics are pretty clean.
I was saying, he's really going to have to be an amazing player to get out of this.
Yes. Very used to saying that, well, they've been caught and there's multiple people here, and then never mind. Second activation of the ult, and he is absolutely fine. Snap traps go down. Quandong Freaks not going to be able to fight for this Herald, but who cares? It's fine.
Him getting caught there, or his greed to try to look for that pick on the Zeus, still leads to essentially his death, his lack of being around or being present for that Rift Herald take, so T1 will grab that one up. Not a lot of great targets for this one, outside of the remainder of that turret on the top side of the map. Everything else is gone, as it turns out. Your T1's already gotten those turrets.
Yeah, that's how you stop them. is you wait until all the turrets are gone and then they can't kill any more turrets. It's a flawless plan. And of course, it gets more difficult to get out onto the map and kill all these turrets if you don't have the kind of suffocating control that they had in game number 1. And that is sort of how things have been done.
Even though Zeus he was punished repeatedly on the top side. Like, if you look at that, those isolated deaths for him, and I don't mean that he was by himself because he died with teammates often, but if you look at that alone, it looks like, oh man, this Renekton must be really, in a good spot in this game. Not really, actually, comparatively, because Zeus has picked up so much of that plate and turret gold on the map that he has so much money sitting on 2 items. The Renekton is the only real frontline for this Zeri in this comp. Yeah, the Maokai kind of can be, but how do you front to back here against all this poke? You're going to have to be confident. You're going to have to be decisive. You have to kill 2 80 carries, basically, but one main threat. Yeah. And the Zeri, if the fight goes very long, can do it. But the game also has to go very long. There's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of conditions here.
And you also have to have a health bar. And Gumayusi is doing a great job of hitting these cues and making sure that he... Okay. Oner just throwing that one willy-nilly. It's absolutely fine. Chains of Corruption gets
bullet hell.
A lot of dashes coming on in there as the Rift Herald going to largely be ignored. Is Oner in a bit of trouble? There is the Crocodile coming forward. Faker trying to get rid of Bulldog, but it doesn't quite work out. Now Bulldog on the run, trying to get out. Faker sets up the Sand Soldier and is going to be able to lock that one down. So mid lane and traded for the jungle as Young Jay could be going down here as well. But the net not going to connect. Drake still on the hunt, though.
Yeah, Drake's up. T1 could try to kite back and take it here, but they want more. They want to maximize the value of this trade. And with no Akali threat, they're going to push this down until the wave crashes.
All right, well, Prowler's Claw Doodoo diving on top of Zeus. He does slice and dice and get himself out, but that was dicey, to say the least.
He will not be having that red buff. No, that will not belong to him. As T1, it's sole point for a Drake that we've often called irrelevant, but for this comp where T1 are the ones who are taking half the health bars away all the time, this Drake is really just not going to be very valuable. It's basically a buffer for the Elder to spawn at this point in time, but he'll take the extra stats here as this fight is just dodge that one, hold on, dodge the next one. Okay, wait for that Varus arrow, and he Chains of Corruption. Like, T1's like, thank God I got a Yuumi in this game, or this is just not going to happen. They do turn and kill this Sejuani, but unfortunately when Bulldog goes a step too far, Faker reads it perfectly, and that's going to be a trade 1-for-1.
I really like the use of Emperor's Divide just to say, get out of here, Akali. Not in your Shroud, don't want to see it. Means that a lot of Akali's kit has to be used defensively to get back to the Shroud, or, you know, to try and get to safety. And so really, really well done there by Faker. Of course, knows the matchup extraordinarily well. Demonstrates it right there. 3,000 gold the lead for T1. Nowhere near the advantage that they had in the first game, but still quite considerable as we move towards 20 minutes.
Zeus freely side laning. Varus with some really nice wave clear to just push mid. And Faker is being shadowed, so the one vulnerable lane, the one place where you think you can maybe try to make something happen is just really tough. I mean, it's Yuumi Maokai trying to chase this one down. Just takes so much damage.
This is crazy. Keria is just walking at this inhibitor turret alongside Zeus, and he's putting down snap traps. He's just making it really difficult as Taemin's going to take an ace in the hole. And Gumayusi looking for a little bit more. Final chapter comes down. Oner's happy to tank it, and this inhibitor's dead, Wolf.
Yep.
Like, what's happening?
I mean, no, there's no response because they try to make the Maokai rotation happen top. It doesn't work. If Maokai's bottom, you could try to set something up with your ult.
This game feels unfair again. Although it shouldn't be. It shouldn't feel like this.
It really shouldn't, but it does. And this is basically T1 saying, oh, CV Max, you like, you said this season's going to be a scrim. Well, we'll give you a scrim. Although most games that go like this, you cancel the scrim. You just say regame and you go to the next one. But this is a professional game, and T1 are just going to cancel the turrets instead. And yeah, they've taken 5 of them off the map. An inhibitor early at 2018, I believe, was the timestamp when that one got wiped off. They have insane wave clear. They have a massive lead that was initially pretty bloodless because it was just by killing structures. Now they're starting to actually get picks and get kills with the money they earned from those structures. Baron has spawned here. And we're not too far away with a lead that T1 have with the double lethality versus this area that's only on 2 items, of just saying, we can start this up and turn on you. And maybe we're there now as they do clear the last part of this vision away.
There is, you know, that one way that Quandong Freaks gets back in is by winning a fight while T1 are trying to do Baron, getting the Baron, and then really turning this game on its head. But with this bottom lane inhibitor gone, it makes getting this Baron so much easier for T1.
And even though Dudu has teleport here, he can't really come into this fight with a TP because he's going to be so far away from everything. Knows how deeply T1 push away all the wards. There's no flank angles here. They checked twice, thrice to make sure there's no Renekton flank.
Yeah. Well, that inner turret is also going to go down. Bulldog has to go back to base, and maybe that just means T1 walk over to the Baron and take this one, because look at all the darkness that Quandong Freaks have to trek through in order to make it to the Purple Worm.
No TP wards, nothing, no options here. They have to kind of siege their way through the jungle. There's a Maokai ult.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp to come in. That's a brilliant Glacial Prison to make sure that the Maokai can't get anything done. But can someone get out of here is the question, as Emperor's Divide gets rid of Bulldog, and Faker just sweeps him up on his way out. It's a 1-for-1 in the end. Oner might fall down, but honestly, he's done his job. Fantastically well done. Picks the right angle in order to escape as well. And T1, they just lose Gumayusi. They trade it for Bulldog and a Baron, and you take that every day of the week. And now they're looking for even more.
He's going to push mid, try to get a second inhibitor here.
Oh, Faker is just massive, by the way.
Shadow Flame
build with Shadow Flame just complete. Has an unbroken stopwatch as well for even more safety.
And he set up this Sundis turret, which feels just unnecessary at this point, but
any super creeping droids? They head towards the Nexus turrets, Wolf.
Gonna be a second inhib. At bare minimum, as Guma's respawned and headed down mid, and they can just go back 30 seconds until the Drake spawns, and that will be the Elder spawner, plus the Soul, which, again, it's helpful, but not really. If this was an Infernal Soul, you would feel so bad right now as Quandong Freaks. You still feel really bad. So this ends up being the pick onto Guma, but Faker has just had Bulldog's number all game long.
His Azir is pretty good. It's just pretty good. And he'll pick up yet another kill. Gumayusi now getting the transform on his Muramana. As T1 just look to secure this soul. We'll see whether they do get it. T1 and Zeus and Gumayusi chilling here in this mid lane. Nature's Grasp once again as Faker shifts the sands to get out. Oner is going to break up the brambles as Young Jay gets into the backline. Keria trying to keep himself alive as the Zeri is starting to have a moment, but it stops immediately. Young Jay also going to try and twist and advance his way around this one. Bulldog flashing after getting that shuriken onto Faker. Finally some revenge, but the game, I think, is just done. Dudu and Moham, they are left alive, but these Nexus turrets are not going to be so lucky. Look at a Jace just mow them down.
What a series we witnessed tonight, Atlas.
we definitely witnessed a series. Goodbye, Moham. You will be remembered as Dudu. I don't even think he wants to. Gumayusi's there, but he just can't get access. Hail Arrows comes down and Gumayusi's dead, and Oner is just going to get out his flail and finish off the Quandong Freaks. There goes